Thank you for listening to this podcast from TRE, Talk Radio Europe, your voice in Spain and around the world. For more information, please visit TRE.radio.
Discuss, challenge, inform, comment, Viewpoint on Talk Radio Europe.
Giles Brown.
Live comment and discussion with studio guests. Viewpoint.
It is Tuesday, the 10th of February. Listen to Viewpoint Talk Radio Europe's current affairs programme with a panel of invited guests where we discuss, we dissect, and we otherwise go through, I can't find anything of another D, we don't argue, thank you very much. You see we're arguing already. The issues of the day with you for the next, we'll call it 1 hour and 55 minutes. We'll be looking at a majority, a whole kaleidoscope of issues today. Everything from, the Labour Party's a bit exciting at the moment, through to the continuing revelations. How far do these tentacles go? Not only are they affecting the British government, the Epstein case now is dragging in Prince Andrew and the King, the British royal family as well. Where will it stop? How much power does this man have? Where does his influence go? Looking at the yesterday's also interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, giving very little away from that as well. And if we have, and anything else you want to get off your mind, it can be local, national or international. We might even look, and I think we should do, at the Super Bowl, because everybody's talking about this. Apparently there was an American football played as well, but everybody's talking about bad, and I'll come into the pronunciation about this in a little while. But first of all, let's have a look at what's making the front pages of the papers this morning. The front pages. It should, by the way, if you want to get involved with the show, if you're desperate to get something off your collective chests, these are the numbers.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
First of all, let's have a look at the headlines this morning. Streeting accused of coup and king. We will help the police. These are the main two stories in the UK at least. Breaking this morning's stories as follows. Cabinet bounced into giving PM stay of execution is the Daily Mail's headline. It says Sir Keir Starmer was rocked by Scottish Labour leader Anas Sarwar's call for him to go. The Guardian says the Prime Minister has seen off an immediate challenge to his position, but he's emerged badly damaged. The Government Insider tells the paper it will take the resignation of one cabinet minister to force the Prime Minister out. The Sun's editorial likens Sir Keir to Monty Python's Black Knight. 'Tis but a flesh wound, etc. But it says while the Prime Minister clings on to next to nothing is being done to fix Britain's broken borders, flailing economy, and clapped out, that's a technical term, public services. In its commentary, the Daily Mirror says the Prime Minister held his ground, but governing with a purpose must follow. Daily Express asks, wouldn't it be more honourable to quit now? Daily Telegraph says West Streeting has been accused of orchestrating a leadership coup against Sir Keir. The Times quotes a minister as saying Sarwar was Streeting's outrider. A spokesperson for the Health Secretary has denied any coup attempt. The Daily Mirror calls the King's offer to assist police with their investigations into his brother a royal bombshell for Andrew. The Sun says the statement is unprecedented. The Mail's commentary says the intervention is significant, but there is not one word no one in the House of Windsor seems able to utter. Sorry. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has previously denied any wrongdoing. The Financial Times says the US Embassy in London is denying visas over petty offences. In some cases going back to the 70s, lawyers say executives are among those affected, with what the paper calls a sign of how far-reaching the US anti-immigration drive has become. State Department says it was upholding the highest standards of national security through the visa process. And the Times says you can buy a former royal island for the price of a modest semi-detached house in the home countries. Now, this is in Wales, so please forgive the pronunciation, okay? The paper says that Ynes Giftan, which sits within within Widafa National Park, Snowdon in other words, was once owned by Queen Anne, but could now be yours for £350,000. It says, while the island has no electricity, it does have a mains water pipe and a septic tank. More than I've had in my past, but there you go. Right, so from the top today, top of my paper pile this morning, all dominated by Will He Won't Be once again. Daily Telegraph, streeting accused of number 10 coup. The Times, PM comes out fighting as cabinet falls in line. Financial Times, Starmer defies calls to stand down as allies accuse streeting of fueling crisis. The Daily Express, resign now, ! PM on brink as calls to go mount. The Guardian, I'm not prepared to walk away, embattled Starmer tells MPs. The Metro simply says, how long? Daily Mail, Cabinet bounced into giving PM a stay of execution. The Daily Mirror, King, we'll help police. The Daily Star, again, King, we will help police. Chaz, and Wills, that's the Star, you know, deeply and profoundly concerned. The Sun, King, will help cops on Andy. That's not a quote, I would imagine. And those, for better or worse, are your headlines on this Tuesday, the 10th of February.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
Right then, I am joined in the studio today. To my centre. You're in the centre.
I've moved.
You've moved. Alf Brew, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Windswept and interesting.
No, and not wet.
Not wet.
But it was raining.
I know. And in the words of Barry Manilow, I made it through the rain. As opposed to another Barry Manilow track, Oh Mandy, you came and you saved me and stopped me from whatevering.
There's a guy in Blackpool who does a thing with kids, songs and stuff like that. And one of his well-known songs is "It's raining again, it's raining again."
And this, ladies and gentlemen, the Alf Brewer Songbook.
Goes on and on. Yeah, I'm a weed. He does that one as well.
Right then, okay, bringing some much-needed glamour to the studio. Welcome back. It's years, but so thank you so much for coming in. Alia Babapuli, how are you?
Good morning, Giles and everybody. I'm fine. Thank you very much.
You found us.
I did indeed, because you sent me a link which sent me off to Selwo, and I was just imagining sitting in a field talking to lions and hippos and everyone in the pouring rain.
One of the best press conferences I ever went to was when Selwo opened some 25 years ago. Yeah, and if you've been to a Spanish press conference, they're full of gentlemen in suits and they're very, very boring indeed. But at the end of the table, right, this press conference, was a guy who looked like Bob Peck in Jurassic Park, you know, the Wrangler and the whole thing. And he was this how long ago? He was doing a rolly cigarette, right? And the questions came through, and this guy's sitting there in his bush hat and the whole thing. And somebody asked the question in Spanish, what would happen if one of the wild animals got over the fence and made it to Costa del Sol, right? And this guy,
especially a shark.
Yeah, and this guy, and they all the guys in suits were fluffing around, going, "Oh, esto no puedo," and the whole thing, right? And this guy didn't miss a beat. He's still rolling his cigarette, yeah. And he said, if one of these wild animals got over the fence, made it down to the coast, made it into Marbella, he'd have to take his chances like the rest of us. And we just absolutely fell about the place laughing. Yep. Anyway. Good morning to you, panel. Good to have you with us. If you wish to get involved, if you've got a question or you've got some viewpoint you want to get across, these are the numbers.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
So, I mean, here we go again. We might as well kick off with, because the press seems to have got itself in a right royal froth about Sir Keir Starmer. When he took the mantle of Prime Minister, I'm guessing he didn't think it was going to end up just over his first year in now, looking something like this. And yesterday, I Conservative with a small c, have to feel a little sorry for Keir Starmer on this one, because this is, of all the people who have been named in the Epstein files, Sir Keir Starmer is not in there, and yet people are calling from his head as if he was pictured on a pedalo on Epstein Island. So it's this. I mean, I thought this was a Conservative Party trick about savage infighting, but the Labour Party seemed to have held their fire. The thing was, there were three. I'll get in a minute, but there were. I'm quite interested about this, because there were three resignations through the morning. So first it was Morgan McSweeney, who's been at who basically sort of, could you argue put Keir Starmer in there, right? So he's gone. So I thought that's a story. That's when I sent off the press notes to. I think, okay, this will be good. And then the second...
Tim Allen.
Yeah, he went as well at midday. And then...
5 months.
And then the head of Labour in Scotland, one of Labour's...
Sarwar.
Exactly. Labour's...
Stupid boy.
Well,
I did say it, because I believe it. He's a stupid man. Absolutely stupid. If he's going to want to lose the election, he's just lost it.
I mean... So what? I mean, here's the thing, because they are saying, oh well, I'm standing down because I can't see us beating the SNP because of what's been going on recently. This whole Mandelson appointment, and I think we were, for someone, we said this last week, somebody who's supposed to be adept, we always thought, who was the consummate politician, the Dark Lord of politics, has claimed to be completely tone deaf and more entitled than anybody we've ever known, the whole thing. But this is a part, the appointment of Mandelson is in an era. But if you listen to everybody who's been piling on over the past week and a half, I'm starting to sound like you, Alf. If you listen to everybody
piling on,
this is all retrospective. We all knew he was. Well, if everybody knew he was that bad, Kerry Badenoch. Oh well, I've got other things to do.
Oh well,
it's only the US. It's only the ambassador to the US, right, Alf?
No, it's not. See, the media have made the most of this more than anybody else. But as I said on the show last week, even I cannot believe why they appointed Mandelson. And all that title, he was called the Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
He wasn't, and that wasn't because of his social life or anything like that. He was called the Prince of Darkness because he moved in those dark places in the political world, and he was a fixer. That's what people don't understand. Kinnock brought him in to fix the Labour Party, and they did. They got rid of Militant, they got rid of Degsy from bloody Liverpool, they wiped out Militant inside the party, they recreated a party that was nearly electable. Yeah. The problem that we had is, and one of the things that why people like Kinnock come along is because of what the unions do. So you've got all these unions who think that they're going to get a Prime Minister, and then they've all got to do exactly what the unions say they've got to do. And there's absolutely no understanding. Remember, I was a trade unionist all my working life. I served at a national level, I've worked for a union, all of that. But you just look at them and go, what do you not understand? We represented less than half the workforce anywhere. You can go to most of the big organisations had to have, if you're not a union member, you can't work here. And this was long after they'd done away with the law that said, I worked for the GPO originally, and in the GPO, if you worked on the civil side, when you worked in the offices, when you were clerical, you had to be a member of the CPSA. Otherwise, you didn't get a job. CPSA was the who knows what they're called. They were the public servants inside government. So they were civil servants in the main. So remember, when I joined the GPO, I was employed as a civil servant. I was a telephone engineer. I built telephone exchanges, but I was employed as a civil service. I had to, sign the Secret Services Act, all that sort of stuff. So it's very much, and it was very much driven by military. But the one issue that was there that we could never understand, I was in a union of engineers. We had 98% membership, and it was voluntary. the clerical people had a union that was, you had to be a member of the union. It was part of your contractual arrangements. You was only exempted on grounds of religion and a few other things. But they only ever achieved 85% membership. Because it's about convincing people why to join a union. This is what we can do for you. And that's the same with the Labour Party. And that's where we're at the moment. It's about convincing people, why should I be involved in the Labour Party? So let's get back to just the one issue on Mandelson.
Yeah.
He was called the Prince of Darkness because he was brought in by Kinnock in order to make, or attempt to make, the party electable. We didn't win because technically it was Kinnock. Kinnock was put in, as I said it at the time, and I maintain it, and I was a friend of Kinnock's, and he was brilliant at what he did.
You've seen the picture, Alf.
Yeah, so, and you just go, the issue was the public didn't take to Kinnock. So we lost an election in 92. And when they elected, and it wasn't when he became the Prime Minister, when they elected Starmer as the leader of the Labour Party, I said on air, on this show, on more than one occasion, he's the stand-in. He's the Kinnock. He's the new Kinnock. He's put in to get the Labour Party to change out of the Corbynites and all of that nonsense, with the unions trying to run the show. So you get rid of all that junk by putting somebody in. But what's the chances of him standing in a general election and winning? And at the time, remotely, we go, no, he's never going to win. He's just a stand-in until they find a new leader like they did the last time with Kinnock. And everybody goes, oh, it's Blair. No, it wasn't. It was John Smith.
Yeah.
And he was the person who was going to really save the Labour Party and change it. Yep. Unfortunately, he died. Fortunately, Blair and Brown carried on the system. Now we've got and what happens? We have the first election. We have the Tories all over the show. We have not reform, attacking them and everybody else. We've got the war in Gaza, or the issue in Gaza. We've got Ukraine. We've got a pile of other stuff. And lo and behold, the Labour Party, on one of its lowest ever electoral basis, was it 34% of the vote, gets a massive, massive majority. And there we are left with this guy who technically was the stand-in, in my view. He was the stand-in. He was the unions accept him, and the public accept him, and the Labour Party accept him. Therefore, he's good for all of us.
Your take on this thus far? I mean, how would you describe, for those who haven't had the pleasure of listening to your dulcets before? I mean, you've got Alf, you've got me, conservative with a small C, but likes to stand on a Trotsky soapbox at some point.
I must honestly say I used to be a conservative, and I made a big mistake.
Right, okay.
Quite frankly, I think I will rescind what I said before about Brexit and everything. I think what they did was a complete and utter rubbish. So there was 14 years of what was called Tory misrule. They pulled the country down. They did so many things which were completely wrong. Now you've got, what's her name, Kemi Badenough?
Yes.
And I'm going to call her that.
My flabber has never been so...
Badenough.
Alia, my flabber has never been so glassed.
Well, there you go.
Blimey.
But quite frankly, I think all of this horrible going after Starmer is ridiculous. It's right-wing propaganda. You have got lots of people who are in the media on that side going after him. It's being proven right, left and centre, Giles. And to go after Keir Starmer, who's doing actually a very good job at the moment. Very good job. I'm not going to say anything against him. He's got 5 years, is it 5 years? He's going to be Prime Minister. I'm glad he's staying on.
3.5 years left.
3.5 years left. It was a 5-year mandate, wasn't it? And all of this nonsense, going after the one man who, you said, is not in the Epstein files. He hasn't been proven to do anything whatsoever with them at all.
Other than support women.
Yeah,
women and,
and children. Look what he's been doing. I mean, I've been talking to my daughter and my son-in-law living in England, and they have said, we're seeing a difference. And they've got two small children, so they're seeing a difference. It's complete. It's just wolves baying. And they're now going to have to eat what they've thrown up
Going
to speak, excuse me, because, as Ralph said, massive surge in Labour. Huge.
952
For the wrong reason.
952 78 4000 to the WhatsApps we go. Morning to you, Richard. Everyone's talking about this. No, they're not. Okay. Who know the country went to in 18 months of Skier rule? When has Chaz ever been concerned? What you mean, Giles, is the right-wing media have got in a froth, and the only scandal at the moment is the one that the same right-wing is claiming that Mandy News is the biggest scandal of our times. Utter nonsense. We've had far bigger scandals in the UK, most of them created by the Tories. As for Sarwar, all the intervention has done is strengthen Starmer in the short term at least. It just reinforces my view that it's bloody difficult to remove a sitting Labour leader if they don't want to go. We know why Mandy was employed, because he spoke the same language as Fat Donny. CPSA is the Civil and Public Services Association. There you go.
Yeah.
What?
Civil Service Unit.
Yeah, all right. Keir Starmer. Meanwhile, hi, I find it, this one in, Zoe, I find it hard to believe that Keir Starmer didn't know about Mandelson. UK is the best spy agency in the world, MI6, and you are saying that they had no idea about Mandelson, Andrew Mountbatten, Windsor, or Jimmy Sable. Who does the MI6 report to if not the government? Meanwhile, morning, Pompey, as Viewpoint has been a mouthpiece for the UK Labour Party for a number of years. Can I ask for the following musical request? It's my party and I'll cry if you want to, and what it's all about, Alfie by Cilla Black. Right then, moving.
You can't get me, I'm part of the union.
Oh, you can't get me, I'm part of the union. The thing, yeah, I mean, this is... because we had this with Andy Burnham, didn't we? Because this whole, here's a challenge to Keir's leadership, and that's sort of gone and died a death.
He shouldn't have.
And now this one.
People like Peter come in and go, don't give us an history lesson, and you go back years, and you go, sometimes you have to go back to remember what happened, why it went wrong. And why it went wrong the first time, after we had the Gordon Brown issues, it's called, let's get ourselves a new leader.
Yeah.
And everybody now says we picked the wrong Miliband.
Yeah, well...
Yeah? So it goes without saying. So we picked the wrong...
You had two Milibands to pick from.
Who picked the wrong Miliband? Because it wasn't Joe Public. The unions had a massive role on that, because Ed Miliband promised the unions all these issues about changing... law, employment law, etc., to make it better for the unions. He never delivered on it, because he never became Prime Minister, because the people in the country said, we're not having those unions coming back trying to run the country. So that was the first issue. Then we go, all right, well, we better get somebody else. So what they then do, because Miliband has introduced this, join the Labour Party for a £5. So
that was Corbyn, wasn't it?
No. Miliband changed the rules to say you can become Miliband didn't. He was the leader at the time.
Right.
The Labour Party changed the rules based on what he said, because the unions put pressure on to say we want to have cheap membership so that people can participate and you'll get a wider spread of involvement in the Labour Party. So we'll charge a £5 to become a member. And I remember distinctly at the time all these nutty right-wing Tories and whoever they were saying, well, we're going to join the Labour Party for a £5. It's worth it because we can then vote for who we want as the leader. I'm not saying that's what happened, but we ended up with a war between, remember him, Andy Burnham, Mrs. Balls, 3-4 other people, right-winger who's disappeared off the scene, and we end up with this farcical situation where, and I'll say the moderates, because they're not right-wingers. Nobody can accuse Andy Burnham of being a right-winger. Right. So there's a bunch of moderates who are opposed to the left of the party, the Corbyn side, who are sitting there and they outbeat each other. And they end up with a bunch of, remember, 3 MPs decided, when they go, you've got to get, whatever it is, 25 nominations or whatever, Corbyn was short of nominations. So a bunch of backbenchers decide, well, we want to give the Labour Party members a choice in this, so they nominated Corbyn. What did we end up with? We ended up with Corbyn as the leader. And you just go...
He was very popular at Glastonbury.
Oh, he probably was, and he was very popular the first time he stood, because nobody had a clue that they were re-electing somebody. Was he a militant supporter? I better not say that, but he was certainly left-wing, and it certainly propped up the left of the party. But all that was on the back of The trade unions, because the trade unions set up Momentum. Momentum were the mob that were joining up people for a fiver and voting for a new leader. So we end up with Corbyn. We suffer years of not being electable. Then we get rid of him, and like I said, on the basis of you've now got to have this compromise, and the compromise person, in my humble opinion, was Starmer. He was not right-wing enough for the left to say we're not having him, and he wasn't left-wing enough for the right to say we're not having him. So there you end up with a compromise, and the compromise, as we all know, if you sit on the fence, you either hurt your bum,
yes,
or if you're in the middle of the road, you get run over. And that's where Starmer...
Or you fall down a pothole if you're in a mess.
And you just go, so what happened? It's a complete... Nobody's ever going to convince... Complete surprise. You get the smallest electoral support in an election for years, and you end up with the second biggest... I think it's the second biggest majority that the Labour Party have ever had, by mistake.
Oh, yeah.
It's very interesting what Alf says, because I don't know enough about all of this, and I sit really in the middle. I'm neither one side nor the other, because I live down here, and
you'll get run over.
Oh no! I've been living a long time. I'm still here. Don't worry about it. I am a great pothole dodger. But coming back to the thing with Mandelson. We had huge problems before. Do you remember John Profumo scandal?
Yeah.
I mean, that was massive.
Which is really interesting, because I was listening to a podcast last night, and somebody quoted the Mandy Reese Davis.
Yes.
Well, they would say that, wouldn't they? You know, that was what she said with the Profumo thing.
We're not allowed to go back in history to understand how to avoid your mistakes.
Coming back to the Mandelson thing, I think Keir Starmer put him in with Trump because there was a certain amount, as you said, dark undertones to the man. And I don't think anybody who is straight up can do any dealings with Trump, because he's just not straight up. I mean, we see it all the time. So it was a question of putting in someone sleazy, can I use that word with Mandelson?
You can use that word if you want to.
Enough to try and make deals or smooth things over for the UK and US. And Starmer was lied to.
It's more...
Starmer was lied to.
Yeah, but it's much more important than that, because Mandelson had a background. He'd been dumped out of the cabinet twice before for wrongdoing. He was known to be part of that underlying sleaze that goes on. He was known to be part of that, but... And you sent me an article by that guy who was the... so let's not have this old right wing and left wing. The guy who was the editor of The Guardian, who's now who's now a journalist, and he writes...
He was the editor of The Guardian, and now he's a journalist.
Well, yeah, and he's got this pretend magazine called Prospect. Or whatever they're called. Prospect, by the way, was part of a right-wing organisation inside the Labour Party that was supported Brown and Blair. Right. So I don't know where they get all these things from, but it says... it's been a false narrative about Mandelson being sent to deal with Trump. He was sent to deal with Trump because he was the only person who could deal with him. Not true. Mandelson was sent there, one, because, and they had one of the senior diplomats, used to be the diplomat for Iran and lots of other countries. Yeah. And he said... the difficulty is, or the difference is, if you've got a diplomat in there, a career diplomat... they've got, career diplomats are not going to be able to talk to Trump in Trump's terms, because Trump isn't a diplomat, has never been near the diplomatic corps. He's never been part of that. Let's have diplomacy.
You're being too generous in your description of him.
Well, he hasn't. So trying to send it... Right, so we had a woman who evidently was really good, and presumably she was advising, I can't do this with Trump because I'm a diplomat. Yeah. So what you do is you get a political involvement, so you find somebody who's big enough politically, who can stand his own ground, who understands world trade. People don't understand. Mandelson did world trade for the Labour Party under Blair, and then under Gordon Brown, he brought him back as a Minister for Trade.
Yeah.
This is a guy who understands, and you're right, it's about how do you talk to Trump to do trade deals in his terms.
That's what I mean.
No career diplomat, and this is what the diplomatic corps I say, no diplomat could talk to Trump in terms like that would be understandable to get deals. He has to understand so he understands the politics. He might not like the politics, but he understands it.
Just going to take a quick break because we're flying through this first hour of Viewpoint. Back after this.
Viewpoint with
Giles Brown.
Always live, always lively. Joined in the studio by the two A's. You have the A team, Alia and Alva. It just occurred to me there. If you want to get your viewpoint across,
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
now, Richard, thank you for this graphic. Oh, I do love a graphic. Are you ready for this panel? Here we go. Next Prime Minister after Sir Keir Starmer, Andy Burnham, 3%. John Healey, 3%. David Lammy, 4%. Yvette Cooper, she's on 6%. Nigel Farage, 7% according to this thing. Shabana Mahmood is on 7%. Ed Miliband, 12%. That's not going to happen. Wes Streeting, 17%. What? When I say that?
Miliband, that's
not going to happen, yeah. Two kitchens. No, because a friend of mine's daughter went to the same school as his kids.
Bacon roll.
And bacon roll, but not only that, he sort of stood on the edge of the parents' thing and didn't get involved with the parents' chat outside the school gates. I was like, okay. But according to this poll, Angela Rayner, 24%. Because she had her hair done the other day, so that for the Daily Mail is a statement of intent.
She's had everything done.
Let's not even go there. Remember when he was employed? We're not on the sherry, but thank you. We're just in a very good mood today because it's not raining, that's why. If I was on the sherry, everybody would know about it. Don't trust me. Remember when he was employed in September 2024? You'd be listening to dead air. No one mentioned Epstein links. The only issue was about China-EU relations. Inviting people to join the Labour Party for a small fee is what got Uncle Jezza, cuddly Uncle Jezza, in. I know that was a case as I did exactly that to win a bet. Okay? The same trade unions that encourage its members to leave the EU. Genius. Meanwhile, blimey, this guy can talk. Yes, he can indeed. Meanwhile, dear Giles, everyone knows that Blair and Mandelson, now Starmer, are all closet Tories. Paul from the People's Republic of Manilva. We've got a poll running on our Facebook page, which is Talk Radio Europe Official, but you knew that already. And I'm asking the question: should Sir Keir Starmer resign over the Mandelson affair? Yes, 10%, which means no, 90%. You can tell that's why I failed maths twice.
Just remember, by the way, when you started the programme and you did some quote out of Blackadder, the issue about Blackadder,
yes,
it was always a cunning plan.
It was all Baldrick.
Always, and that's where we are now.
Oven ready, Brexit, cunning plan.
We've got all these, and there's not one. There's like 14 cunning plans.
Incidentally, listeners, you have just missed something with Giles Brown, because I and Andy and I have been treated to Giles Brown taking off various layers of clothing.
Well, I've got to keep your attention somehow, Ali. It's been a while since we've feel more covered up.
And we're not saying sorry. We're like the royals, you know.
Are you?
We're not.
What, you've got a younger son that you're quite...
We're not going to say sorry. And people don't know, why hasn't any royal said sorry? Well, because it's the reverse. It's negative equity, isn't it? It's called, if they say sorry about what Andrew's done, or anybody has done in the royal family. It's not just him, it's his missus and whatever. If they say sorry...
Sarah, you mean Sarah?
Whatever,
Yeah.
Ginger.
His missus.
Ginger Spice.
Yes.
If they say sorry, that's an admission that they knew what was going on. So they're never going to say sorry. Why don't people just accept the fact that they're embarrassed as everybody else, they don't know what to do, and how they're going to handle Andrew is unbelievable. And by the way,
right,
the royals do know what cops are.
Right, okay.
Cops are a bit of their estate in the
Cops
forest.
over there, so that the ground speakers.
Absolutely.
The cops.
The trees behind which Andrew was hiding.
I mean, this is the, you know, this. I have and I'm not going to get all deep and meaningless on us, okay? Because listen, you know, with my lifestyle and the stuff that I used to get up to, my moral high ground is about as big as one of those potholes. I started a pothole outside Benavista and worked my way up, okay? So, but doesn't it just say something appalling, panel, about, because here is a man, and I use that term advisedly, this Epstein, okay? And it is coming out now, and this is the only one we know, and I'm not going to put my tinfoil hat on because I've got my baseball cap on anyway, but it is, and maybe I am just naive, maybe I'm just a little bit of an idealist, you know, as I head towards the autumn of my years and everything like that, but this person can have that much influence, you know, because he was a billionaire, and everybody else in his orbit seemed to have thrown their morale. And I've got, you know, as Groucho Marx once said, "Here are my principles, and if you don't like them, I have others." Yeah. But you know, ye gods, you've got to be worried about something. Yeah.
Apart from the fact that he was an evil, depraved, horrible person, think a bit more behind all of this and what kinds of blackmail he was using on people to get that power. Because he didn't do it just by being Jeffrey Epstein and so on. He was blackmailing people.
Well, he didn't blackmail Mandelson, did he?
No, but all over the world. All over the world, all these people, they were doing the most unspeakable things to these children. And Epstein was using blackmail. Think about it.
It's the depravity. Last week. Yeah. It's greed. In Mandelson's case, it's greed. The guy wanted to be part of the rich society, and he didn't have the money to be part of the rich society. He goes to a Labour Party supporter to get money for his mortgage, for a mortgage that he hides from a building society because he's got a mortgage already. He goes there again for $75,000 for his partner's educational studies. He goes there for this and for that. And Epstein wasn't blackmailing, he just gave him the money because it's paying him off. Because Mandelson, presumably, I have no idea. The issue is, did he give him secrets? And they probably weren't secrets, but he would have been giving him information.
Insider.
Insider information.
It's a form of blackmail.
Yeah.
You give me this, I'm going to pay you that, but then because I've paid you that, I've got that hold over you because of XYZ.
I think Mandelson just gave it. He was a bit blackmail, just did it.
Doesn't it say something about the moral compass though? And I'm not getting, because, you know, you get to a point and okay, so, you know, the normal rules of morality do not apply to us because, you know, we have all moved in circles where there are very wealthy people or very influential people, and a lot of them are very, very mucked up, and I use that word advisedly.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Oh, definitely.
You know, and so that whole thing about, I'd rather be rich than poor, and then you see these family, you know, very rich people, families, trust fund babies, the whole thing. We live in Marbella. We've come across very wealthy individuals, and this is nothing to. I mean, with the greatest respect, this is not. I mean, I wouldn't like to have a functioning car, but this is nothing. This is nothing to.
Child's cars don't want to have anything to do with you.
Fine.
When you come along, they go, no, we go the other way.
Well, you're lucky to a part next to mine. But what I'm saying is, you look at some of the people here, and they are desperately unhappy, and they've got all the money. You know, they've got more money than God on Gyro Day, and why are people suddenly going, oh well, because he's got a jet, he's got an island, we can have these fabulous parties. We talk about toxic masculinity, but do grown men suddenly revert to sort of like teenage boys going, oh yeah, we can hang out with some pretty girls? I mean, you just look at it and you go, you know, my favourite sayings is Muhammad Ali, who famously said, if you are still chasing the same things at 60 that you were as a 20-year-old, then you have not evolved as a human being.
Not.
Correct.
No.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're in case agreement with you. Okay.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, one of the other things that's been happening as well that people never quite can equate to is the way that the politics is run in the country, and it happens with all political parties, because there's this wild assumption that 600 odd people, 300 Labour MPs somehow or other have a say in the running of the country. Not even the cabinet have a real say in the running of the country, and never have done in any government for hundreds of years. So what you do is, the first thing you do when you become Prime Minister is you get your cabinet together and you find out all the strengths and weaknesses of every member of your cabinet, so you can abuse them by giving them jobs that either they don't like or don't want, to drive them away, or to encourage them to come closer. What is it they say? Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. And so what you find is that they've all, and it doesn't matter what, somebody better explain to me what I don't know. The staff who work in number 10 are appointed by the Prime Minister. Nobody else. The Cabinet doesn't appoint them. They have no say in the appointments. The MPs have no say in the appointments. It's strictly and so it's his team in number 10. Technically, they are his advisors. What happens is that these people, and you can go back years and years, like I say, all different governments, these people then become bigger than the elected people. They have more say in what goes on. You go back to Blair with his communications guy, who the world famous top bloke, does loads of stuff. He was more important than any MP. He was more important than any... Prescott used to argue with him because Prescott wanted to be, I'm here, I'm an important person, I'm the Deputy Prime Minister, you're not going to abuse me. So they ignored him. Just let him go. Yeah, go on, John, you go over there, we'll catch you one day.
Staff out for there to keep all the mundane,
they're not. They run the country. They tell the civil servants what to do. They tell the departments.
They filter out the things which the Prime Minister does not have to take immediate care of.
They have
yes, of course they do.
No, that means
that's why they're there.
That means they filter out everything that gets to him.
How do you think a Prime Minister is going to have to cope with all of the nonsense which goes on in the world?
They don't
everywhere.
have to. They don't have to. They've got 32 ministers. They've got 64 junior ministers. They have people coming out there. They run an office. There's a Prime Minister's office in Parliament. Not number 10. It's an office in Parliament. They have about 20 staff in there. Of course they have people to do all that mundane stuff. But I'm talking about the staff in number 10. Right. Not all these others who are looking after what you're saying. These people effectively... I'll go back. Boris Johnson. What was his biggest mistake? The geezer with the cardboard box. No, the guy who was his chief of staff in number 10, who eventually they got rid of. Yeah, of course. Cummings had more say in what was going on in the Tory government than any MP, than any minister, other than Boris Johnson. And that's what happens in every single government. And today, Starmer's got the same thing. So he's getting rid of all those people. It's called, to be honest, Parliament are now saying you're too big for your boots. You don't run us, we run you. And all they're going to do is change those people out for another group of people who are going to tell the MPs what they can and can't. And on top of that, what you then have, that compounds it, is you have the staff who work for the Labour Party. And if you work in a political party, if you don't think that the General Secretary of the Labour Party has more influence over the Prime Minister than any MP, then you don't understand politics. If you don't think that a General Secretary of the biggest Unite the Union, if you don't think that that woman has more say in the ear of the Prime Minister than any MP, than any minister, then you don't understand politics. It's about... what is it, Giles? Power. If you've got the power, you can make the changes. If you haven't got the power, you can't make any changes. And that's what politics is all about. The art of achieving things. And you can only achieve it if you've got the power.
To the WhatsApps we go.
Sorry.
Anonymous. How can anybody call Keir Starmer a protector of women and children when he jails his own people for protesting against genocide, labels them terrorists, and punches them with up to 14 years in prison? Have I got this completely wrong? Meanwhile, conversation we had the other day. Is Epstein the only one? Maybe there's an African, Asian, South American or any other name that continent equivalent. Epstein can't have been the only one to offer these services and hold these crazy rich idiots in their pockets. By the way, was Alf talking about Alistair Campbell? He of the illegal labour? Yes, he was indeed. Some people are very insulting to the democratically voted in president of the USA. And by the way, Starmer was warned by British security services of Mandelson's liabilities. That's a word for it. I like that. Liabilities and problems the appointment would arise. Meanwhile, you, Giles, you assume morality is in these people's lexicon. It isn't. It's naive to believe so. Well, you know, hey, I grew up on a thing of Walt Disney movies. Campbell Claret. One of the big problems with our politics is that we have a media, including and even especially in Westminster, that treats politics largely as a soap opera. Given this, well, you could argue, was it ever any different? Given this seems unlikely to change, I wonder if they couldn't at some point turn to the episode about the man they seem desperate to make Prime Minister, electoral law breaking. Epstein file mentions not least of the billionaire hoping to get him in, loads of money from wherever they can find it, and his close connection with so many others in the files. That's my godfather you're talking about. That happens everywhere, Alf. The same at the White House. Fat Donny isn't really in charge. Is it possible that blackmail is a real... Gosh, you're waking up. Is it possible that blackmail is a real tool and that it could be... sorry, I just got things coming in the emails left, front, centre. That blackmail is a real tool and it could reach as far as Keir Starmer. You might wonder how maybe the powers that be can dial it up or dial it down. If Starmer doesn't play ball, might the monarchy be at risk? I've got my tin hat on. Right then, I'm going to an ad break and then back with more Viewpoint.
Viewpoint with
Giles Brown.
And it's straight to the lines we go. So apologies because I forgot to plug. Get this. This is how technically advanced I am. I forgot to...
I'd like to have a screw.
How many presenters does it take to screw a light bulb in? Absolutely none. Sorry about that. Morning calling it time for live on TRE. What's your name? Steady. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your Viewpoint, please?
Oh, hi, Giles. I've been trying to get through.
Yeah, I know. I forgot to screw the light bulb in, which warns me there are calls coming in. Sorry,
I found the light bulb.
I know you found a light bulb. It's not like we don't have a big red phone like Trump in the corner. Well, we can.
Okay.
Morning, sir. How are you doing?
What I was going to comment on, it was a while ago now, the lady there mentioned the 1963 Perfumer affair.
Yes, indeed.
In England with Mandy Rice Davis and Christine Keeler. It just shows how times have changed. At that time, my wife was a reporter working in Fleet Street. And at that time, Macmillan didn't retire or resign, and it all got lost. But my wife told me at the time that Macmillan would resign with a sudden illness in 6 months' time. Yes, he resigned in 6 months' time with a sudden illness. So I don't think there's as much cover-up now as there was there.
Here's the thing as well, the Perfumer, of course, he left in disgrace, and he went on because he was Minister of War, and that was the... And he went and he basically spent the... He didn't write a sort of kiss and tell Matt Hancock sort of thing. He just basically went and worked for charities or would raise money for charities for the rest of his life, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that, yeah, he did.
Right. Well,
what I'm saying is it's amazing how the cover-up, I mean, maybe if this was now 63, we wouldn't know half of the Perfumer, the Mandelson affair and the Epstein.
Yeah.
It's only because of Epstein dying, though, John, isn't it? If Epstein hadn't died and all these papers hadn't been come to the surface, we still wouldn't know anything about it.
Oh, yes, you would. I mean, you wouldn't
know about Mandelson.
Well, listen, just a second. There were 1,000 women who came up and gave statements to the police and the FBI, and they were absolutely ignored by everybody. 1,000 women. Then Sacha Baron Riley, who was a young boy, the harrowing things in his narrative, which you can hear about, came through, and suddenly everybody's talking about it.
No, but they were ignored.
They were ignored.
That's the same as a cover-up. So they could have covered it up. It's just that this thing became so big. And because of the Trump intervention with all of this, everybody goes, oh, this is a state cover-up, this is Trump cover-up. So what John is saying is absolutely correct. it's just what sparked this to start this time. And the only thing I can think of is because Epstein killed himself in prison. Even before
Didn't kill
that...
himself, he was killed.
I was waiting for...
Oh, whatever. He died in prison.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately died. And you go, killed to cover up the
windows,
secrets.
the Russians would say.
To cover up the secrets. And the first thing that they all do is, let's let all the secrets out of the bag. Now what you're going to see is at least 5 years of let's get all this redaction taken out, and there will be 1,000 women coming forward to say, well, I don't mind if my name is
They've
known
already done
publicly.
it.
Well, yeah, but they're not. They can't do it on the redacted stuff because it's redacted because it's an official paper from the criminal justice system in America. So they can't do it. They can come out individually, but they can't prove that any of these papers are associated with them.
To the lines we go. Morning, Cooley, live on TRE. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your viewpoint, please?
Good morning, Giles. Good morning, panel. I'm from Benavista.
Good
Hi.
morning. How are you doing, sir?
Very good. Happy the rain seems to have departed.
Yes, indeed.
For the most of it, anyway. Sorry, I can't remember the name of the lady on your...
Alia, the lovely Alia, of course.
Alia.
Yes.
The lovely Alia.
The lovely. That's
who, of course, I'm going to disagree with immediately.
Right.
To do so.
Okay, great. Good humour. The thing is, I disagree when you say that Trump is an all-out liar. He was elected to do certain things, and which he has done. I mean, Trump, thank God, is not a career politician. He's a businessman, and therefore he gets things done. I mean, within a very short period, the southern border is closed. So all those women and children that were being abused a lot on the journey to try and enter America are now technically saved because they don't have to go through this horrendous journey. They were being raped, and the children were being prostituted, and all sorts of horrors. Anyway, he's put a stop to that. Why Biden didn't do it? Well, who knows? He didn't want to do it, I don't think. And you're talking about lying. I mean, where do we start with the Democratic Party in America? I mean, in particular, Kamala Harris, stating that Biden is as bright as a button, sharp as a tack. I mean, these are dangerous comments because everybody else seemed to know that he wasn't. So, and when Trump says that Russia would probably not have invaded Ukraine if he was in power, I have to agree with that. He saw the weakness in the Democratic Party, and in particular Biden. And I mean, Trump gets things done.
Okay.
Which is a revelation for me.
As always good to get your viewpoint. There seems to be some sort of buzzing in the background. I don't know if that's
I'm cleaning a swimming pool.
Oh, you're cleaning a swimming pool.
Sorry.
Well, that's male multitasking. Well, listen, thanks very much for that. We're going to...
He gets things done.
He gets things done, like cleaning a swimming pool. Right then, thank you for calling.
Can he fix some potholes?
Yeah, he fixed some potholes. Right, we're going to the news and then back.
I wish. Yeah,
thanks for the call. We're going to the news now and then back for second half of Viewpoint. Thanks very much.
Talk Radio Europe.
Your voice in Spain.
Discuss, challenge, inform, comment, Viewpoint on Talk Radio Europe.
Giles Brown.
Live comment and discussion with studio guests. Viewpoint.
Welcome back to the second half of Viewpoint. Always live, always lively. Joined in the studio by Alia Balapuli and by Alf Brewer. Should you wish to get your viewpoint across, then these can be national, international or local. These are the numbers.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
Yes, indeed. The poll on the Facebook page, Talk Radio Europe Official. Should Sir Keir Starmer resign over the Mandelson affair? Yes, 41%. No, 59%. Sai says he should resign. Fred says no, definitely not. And looking at the WhatsApps coming in, +34 645 99 67 95. Please, can somebody on the panel answer whether Sir Keir Starmer has been putting people in prison and labelling them terrorists for protesting against genocide? Well, this is presumably talking about Palestine Action there, which they have prescribed. I think they prescribed it a terrorist group organisation. So I know they've been arrested, but I can't. I'm a little busy trying to sort of keep a little left of my sanity together and the panel and everything else. Meanwhile, reference caller in love with Trump because he saved young girls from illegal immigrants. That's okay then, as he has also mentioned 70,000 times in the files, all redacted, of course. Giles, fix the pothole in his head. Are you going to challenge this? If people still banging on about the Profumo affair, not only an irrelevance, but a misdemeanor. Yes, but it's in the 60s, and therefore it was, apparently a gilded time. If Profumo happened today, it would spread like wildfire. The difference is the availability of free media and mediums to disseminate information. So Jonathan, the caller, this writer says, they may not be getting trafficked or whatever, but ISIS is killing them instead. Thank you. No credit for Trump releasing the Epstein papers. Well, I don't think it's true. I mean, I think it's the DOJ. But the thing, okay. Alia,
the Epstein papers came about because the 1,000 women who had been making all these statements to the police and the FBI for years and years and years got fed up, and they banded together and they went and made a big news conference that started the ball rolling. And after that, there was more and more things coming up. You should see some of the files. I have listened to the podcasts. I have listened to talks which people have been given. It's horrifying. And it wasn't Trump who started it. And the Department of Justice, in America is an absolute disgrace. There is nothing of justice about it. Look what they're doing to their own people.
952 78 4000 is the phone number. Looking at some other bits and pieces that have been coming in, just looking at some more comments through. Good morning. At least the malignant Morgan McSweeney has been exorcised. As for Starmer, I'm just incredibly disappointed in him. I'd hoped for so much more when he was elected. One of the things, panel, that was to a podcast I was listening to last night, because I did, was the fact that people were saying, well, Starmer was backed into it, or was having to defend himself, basically state his aims last night. I mean, it was a packed briefing with ministers last night in London, in Westminster. One of the problems with Starmer is he's not a great communicator in the way that so many Labour MPs have been good communicators. Michael Foot was a good, Kinnock was a good communicator, Blair was a good communicator, etc. And nobody kind of knows what's. Starmer, can you argue that Starmer is elected on the platform of we've had 14 years of Tories and therefore we need to get them out, and there's no Starmer, there's no vision at the moment, and Starmer may be a brilliant he may be a brilliant person in real life, but he's not a gifted communicator in the way that other politicians had. And we're all saying, oh yeah, but we don't want charismatic. We had charismatic in Boris Johnson, for goodness sake.
You want someone steady. Look at what happened with the Tories. Was it 5 prime ministers?
5 prime ministers.
5 prime
if
ministers.
You're counting Liz Truss.
For God's, well, yes, cool. Yes, all right, fine. Yeah. I'll give you that. Do we really need people who have got enormous charisma and so on, or somebody who's going to be working steadily and who's trying to do the things? I mean, he's just got a huge deal gone through with China. He's taken 450,000 children out of poverty because the two-child thing was got rid of, and so on and so forth. Are these not things which need to be done quietly and steady rather than a whole lot of flashy rhetoric?
But we live in an age now.
Oh, yes, but this is the problem, isn't it? Everyone wants to have their 5 minutes of fame up on the thing going, Yahoo, look at me, I'm doing this and I've been promoting that and so on and so forth. Quite frankly, we don't need that in politics. You need people who are getting things done.
Alf, you had the opportunity to go up and say, Yahoo, look at me, quote-unquote, Yahoo, look at me?
No disrespect, but no disrespect. They may have had 5 prime ministers, but it wasn't the prime ministers that were getting rid of themselves. It was the Tories who were doing it. Because if you wanted a steady hand on the tiller, nobody could have been more steady-handed than Theresa May. Yeah, that's a fact. She was brought in because she was a steadying influence. The problem is the Tories have this vision of where presumably they can't say they don't like women because they had Thatcher for long enough. All right, they got rid of Thatcher for other reasons. They didn't get rid of her because she was a woman. Theresa May comes along and all of a sudden she's not doing the right things and there's all this undermining stuff. And the difficulty she had is that you had Farage, who's been in the background of British politics now for, 15 years? Well, 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's always been from a negative point of view. He's now in a position where he's got to start being positive, and he's struggling. Seriously struggling, because he can't be positive, and you can't be... And when you get nearer to being in power, you have to be positive. And there's no way. You can't have all these negative people from the Tories who did so much damage, in my view, to the country, who then opt for reform and say, those Tories were the ones who let us down. No, you were the Tories who let us down, and now you're jumping ship because, you're trying to undermine the leader who you've just elected. And by the way, people, it happens in the Labour Party, and someone said it earlier, it's very difficult to get rid of a leader. The Tories seem to be able to do it at the drop of an hat, and Kimmy Badenoch is, I think she's got to be there for 2-3 years. She's got to lead them into the next general election. Otherwise, the Tories will be finished, and I mean finished. So we tried it, didn't we? Gordon Brown. We can't have Gordon Brown because he wasn't elected. Everybody warned him. He didn't actually lose the election. He just didn't win it because the Lib Dems then decided to go with the Tories and outvote them.
But again,
we didn't get rid of Corbyn. Seriously, we didn't get rid of Corbyn. Corbyn wasn't, he lost an election by a massive, see the writing on the wall, son, you've got to go. We didn't get rid of Michael Foot, same thing. The biggest thing in history. We didn't get rid of Callaghan. And he caused enough problems with the unions, unbelievable amounts. We didn't get rid of him. We lost an election to Thatcher.
We don't need to get...
No, we've never got rid... It's just what people have done. We've never got rid of the leaders. The leaders have gone by an Ed Miliband.
Can I just put this question to you then?
So
both?
Theresa May would have made a good Prime Minister if the Tories had let her.
And here's the thing, okay? Now, here is the question for panel and the listeners, okay? Because... if Keir Starmer were to throw up his hands and go, you know what, I'm going to go off and I'm going to get that island in Wales for 350 and I'm going to write my memoirs. I don't need this stuff. I don't need this axe.
Not anymore.
But right, so if he were to go, right, that would empower an awful lot of people, and we would, because people say this is about Pedro Sanchez, people say about Donald Trump. They're in the earliest, they've still got 2 years, they've still got 3 years, they've still got 4 years to go. You don't just walk in and, we don't just walk in, wave a magic wand and suddenly, you've got real beer in the pubs and Spitfires fly over and the whole thing, you've got a job. But what you do, if a leader is to go on the back of this, which again has very little to do with him in terms of policy. It's a terrible decision, that in retrospect he shouldn't have made. But then we go down this very, very dangerous path of quick fix politics, and I go on about the politics of the tweets, and we set a precedent that is really damaging for Donald. I mean, obviously, Badenoch's going to call for an election. Nigel Farage's going to call for an election. Careful what you wish for.
Vote of confidence.
Yeah.
Not for an election.
But if he was to step either way, if we work,
But Reform isn't a party. It's actually not. It's a company. It's a registered company.
Yeah, but it's a political party in terms of parliament.
Unfortunately, look at the people they've got in.
But it's very easy to be it's very easy to be in opposition because you're just going, this is what they're doing wrong.
What Starmer is doing now, what he's trying to do, if I read it correctly yesterday, he's going to bring in some kind of a policy which says if you now are an MP, you can't hold a second job.
No,
you're not allowed.
You can't do that. It won't happen.
Well, I read that yesterday. and I'm trying to think where.
What they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure that if they have a second job, it's one that everybody knows about. And that's what he's here to do.
Non-directors,
compliant?
And all that. Yeah. I had to go and meet Tebbit, for example, because he was...
I would have liked to see that meeting.
Well, I tell you, unbelievable, because he's about 5'0", and he didn't even come up to my chest.
Was he wearing his bobber boots? So it's a spitting image joke. Anybody from the 80s will know, because the Chingford skinhead.
Yeah, but I met him when he had his leather jacket on as well in his constituency, because it was near where I lived, certainly where I worked.
Right.
As a union official, we used to go round and badger his office, as you do when they're trying to privatise BT. So you go and badger all the Tory MPs, don't you? It's what you did. So. But, I was forced to meet him, and he was a non-executive director of BT. And he was on about, even then, he was on about £100,000 a year. He was earning more than he was as an MP.
That's been an open secret.
But he didn't have to announce it. He announced it because Tebbit, for those who don't know, was the General Secretary of a union, strange union. He was General Secretary of BALPA, British Airline Pilots Association.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
So, and who weren't affiliated to the Labour Party, weren't part of anything, TUC and all that. But when you met this guy, he had... Is it charisma? I'll tell you what. It's like Blair. Blair walks in a room. I've told you this story. Blair walks in a room. You knew. I was in a room with about 1,000 people, and I was the other side of the room from where he walked in. And I knew within 10 seconds of him entering that he was in the room.
Yeah.
He walked in. I know it sounds weird, but I was doing a thing in Blackpool in a trade union do, and the American ambassador turned up to meet with Kinnock. And he walked in the room. All right, he's about 6'4".
Who is?
The
American ambassador?
At the time, 1960s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
A big bloke, and he had four security guards with him, and they were all about 6'8". So when they walked in the room, but I was on the door. So it's like, who are you? And someone rushed over and said to me, you can't stop him coming in, it's the American ambassador. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who are these for? With guns, because they're all packing.
Yeah.
And you just go, but when they walked in the room, you knew they were there, not just because of their size, they just walk in with this aura.
Detail, this aura.
Absolute aura. It's like power. Kinnock comes in and nobody notices whether he's there or not.
Back to the poll we go. Should Sir Keir Starmer resign over the Mandelstam affair? 55% say no, 45% say yes, he should go. Meanwhile, some of the WhatsApps coming in this morning as well. Do you want a communicator or a doer? Would you rather have bumbling fools like Bodger and Donny instead? Well, this is the saying, we are living in the political age of the tweet. Starmer has the charm of a stale bread roll, and Theresa May isn't human. Well, I think she is. I mean, she can't dance, but apart from that, be careful what you wish for. The thought of Prime Minister Farage is beyond our worst nightmares. But you could. Should there be a collective meltdown of the hive mind? The thing is, because you've said Reform isn't a party. It's a company.
It's a company. Right. It's a registered company.
But again, if you look at their lineup at the moment,
which is pretty pathetic.
Well,
just look at them.
Suella Braverman.
Yes.
Bless her little, bless. As the Americans say, bless her soul.
The ex-Labour geezer who wants to feed everybody for 2 and 9p.
Yeah, but again, it is. They are. John Soper called them a motley crew, which I think is.
That's a pop group.
Didn't Farage just say that he wants to take 59p off the price of a pint of beer, but then not give children food?
Oh, that'll get him votes for something?
Yes, it was.
But he's got to be positive now, and they've got nothing positive amongst them. They weren't positive where they came from. Remember, Reform didn't just form. They've come from a background. They come from a UKIP background. They come from a Brexiteer background. They come from all sorts of strange political backgrounds, none of which are cohesive. And you're putting a pile of people together, never mind about the people in Parliament, they've still got a collective. He calls a meeting and there's 500 people there. And they all believe him.
You see, but are Labour not missing a trick here? Because if they just keep it sort of quote unquote strong and stable, we heard that before, and they don't go into infighting, then the others at the moment look like they're going to go into infighting. Because we were, Alf, like 2 months ago, you and I were saying, well, the Conservatives with small C's, large C's, whatever, they've got a real problem at the moment because Reform, they're ripping the heart out of it, and the Conservatives, or Middle England, Alia and myself would regard ourselves as pretty much that, are just going, and the only way that, if Conservatives do a deal with Reform, that's a deal with the proverbial, and are we back to sort of Lib Dem, doing a deal with the Lib Dem and the Conservatives? So all that Labour have really got to do is keep it steady. We talk about, a hand on the tiller, as opposed to, I don't know, steady hand on a tiller or steady hand or Attila the Hun in many cases, but,
As you were saying before, what Starmer needs is a fantastic media office.
Oh, yeah. I mean, their
doubt.
comms got to be taken out and talked to seriously.
Because
he's got too soft. At least they're going to have a new start.
Yeah.
The problem then is if they get the comms person from Labour Party head office, which is quite often the route for people to become number 10ites, is that they're known in the party. Political advisors, media advisors are in all the regions. And they come through, and some of them get elected as MPs. The guy who was Gordon Brown's right-hand man was an organiser with me.
Yeah.
But he wasn't an organiser like me. He was a media person. So you have them regionally, you have them, and then they sort of get promoted into this national thing. And I'm not sure how much training they all get, and the guys are like, what's his name? I forget his name. I'm crap with names. The guy who was there with Blair.
Apologies to all those who are offended by you dropping the rap word out there.
Yeah. Well,
Alf,
it could be worse.
It's a yellow card.
Today, it's so important is to have a good media team behind you.
Yeah.
I mean, just look what happened with Big Bunny.
Big Bunny. No, for those, let's just quickly about the Bunny thing, all right? So,
Big Bunny.
Yeah, Big Bunny.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, Big Bunny at Super Bowl. I know we're leaping around. We're pinballing. You see, I don't know. I don't know, because I have an irrational hatred of reggaeton and all that sort of stuff.
I don't like it either, but the whole show was fabulous.
And I don't even watch it.
Right, so
I don't even understand the words.
Actually, it was a huge thumbs up to everybody else.
But so I thought it was as a piece of performance. I think it was wonderful.
Yes,
I could have been that Blade of Girl. I could have been a girl. Anybody can runs on for all those kids
with the trees.
For all those kids at nativity plays who had to play the part of the back end of the donkey or the Christmas tree, guilty as charged. That was our moment of glory.
The fairy in the background.
That was also my moment of glory. Don't you dare talk about Ricky Martin in that way. But anyway, moving swiftly onwards. But so I thought, and I watched it, and I thought Gaga was brilliant. Oh yes, I know. Gaga. I'm getting the comments in already. Gaga. I mean, I didn't used to like Lady Gaga either, right? Until I saw A Star Is Born. That changed me completely.
She can sing
that woman. And then she did Salsa, Die With a Smile. So, thought the whole show was brilliant, okay? Loved it. The whole bit, the casita.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole... And then and I know the goddaughters, who are 18 and 14, like Big because they're reggae, because we live in Goeen. Yeah. So I said, and I was trying to be down with the kids. So I actually glimpsed the lesser spotted goddaughter yesterday between the bathroom and her room, and I said, hey, Maya, wasn't Bad Bunny great at Super Bowl? She gave me that look that all teenage girls give you, like, huh? I said, Bad Bunny, anyway, she went, oh, you mean Bad Bunny, because apparently I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's Spanish. Not malevolent mouse.
And then the wonderful thing is that so many of the Americans say, well, he's not American. What are you talking about? He should never be on that show.
Oh, yes. No, it's worse than that,
Puerto Rico, of course, doesn't belong.
3 days before that, this is the story I listened to, because I listened to them. Trump's on his, whatever he calls it, real Trump.
Truth Social.
Trump, saying... This is absolutely ridiculous. Why have we got this Spanish-speaking lump in the middle of the biggest American thing going? And all he's complaining about is it was in Spanish. You just go, do you not understand that half your bleeding population in southern United States speaks Spanish?
No, of course
he doesn't understand very much anyway.
But and the funny thing was,
I stand by that.
After Kendrick Lamar did last year's, right, and they Trump supporters must have been thinking it can't get any more black than that. Kendrick Lamar, and then they went, aha, we raised you Spanish, and it's like, can we not have Garth Brooks or somebody back on, Alia?
There were millions, I think it was 143 million people or something stupid who watched that actual thing.
Yes,
300 million.
And then people switched off immediately after Bad Bunny was on and didn't watch anything else. They just watched him.
It's 300 million people.
Massive. He is huge.
I know. It's the biggest sporting event in the world for that one day. It's not as big as the Olympics.
Not as big as West Ham Millwall,
the
surely.
World Cup.
Absolutely
Look at the World
not.
Cup. They keep going about the World Series. It's not a World Series.
On top of that, we've now got photographic evidence of Malaga's association with West Ham United. We've seen the flags on the ground.
Moving swiftly onwards. But
not to say too much.
As somebody who couldn't give a forex about American football, right? Because it's anyway. But and here we go. In a world which is being riven by people trying to drive a wedge between it would have been the easiest thing to have made it, to have Bad Bunny, driving over an ice person or something like that. But he made it a celebration of Latina/American lifestyle.
Yes.
And a joyous and an inclusive celebration. Ricky Martin, for example, somebody got married.
That was lovely.
It wasn't the kid, by the way, who'd been taken by the ICE agents who was given the Grammy. That was just whatever. But you just thought, wow, you just wanted to go and join that party.
It was fun.
In a way that you have to have. Alf, I know that you cut the dance floor alive.
Except for when they moved it with the World Club football final. And they wanted to put an hour and a half in half-time for whoever it was, Beyonce or someone, to come on and sing to the... You go, it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes at most is half-time at football. But no... And Trump come on and said, this is a wonderful idea. Because he wants to change soccer into an American sport.
But it used to be what was it? It was the band of the Coldstream Guards, wasn't it, at Wembley? That was the whole thing at half-time. That was your half-time entertainment.
No, it was bands of soldiers.
Yeah, the Coldstream. It was the band of the wasn't it?
It wasn't always a Coldstream. I worked with a guy who left BT.
This is a very tenuous link, Alf.
No, he went into the army. He went in, and he's because he could play the wow guitar. Guitar going wow.
That's a pedal. That's the wow pedal. It's not actually guitar.
It was a new thing. Yeah, but you had to have a guitar for it.
Giles knows all about what.
Anyway, top and bottom is he was in the marching band. West Ham's cup final.
If you hear everything spinning, that's Jimi Hendrix in his grave, by the way.
1980, this guy was walking up and down the pitch with a trombone. He couldn't play the trombone to save his life. Brilliant on the guitar. So they don't have the Coldstream Guards. They have the army marching bands.
All right, I'm going to get.
And he left the army.
I'm waiting for Pompey Gary to send in a comment here. I tell you, I'm going to tell you now, bro. The ice is so thin.
Well, I can tell stories like that. Because he left the army when they said that every soldier had to be able to use a rifle, and he'd never carried a gun in his life, so he left the army and come back to BT.
If you've ever heard a badly played blade recorder, you know what a dangerous weapon that is. Right, I'm going to go before we go down this complete rabbit hole. So we agree that Bad Bunny was great the other night.
Oh, absolutely wonderful.
Right, go into a quick break and then back with more Viewpoint.
Viewpoint with
Giles Brown.
Always live, always lively. You're into the last 25 minutes of this morning's Viewpoint. Doesn't time fly when you're having a lovely time talking about bed bunny? Anyway, if you want to get if you've got the wah-wah trombone, Alf, if you want to get your Viewpoint across, it can be local, international, national. These are the numbers.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
To studio@tre.radio. Sir Keir Starmer should remain Prime Minister because the country needs steady leadership, not constant upheaval as under the last government. At a time, this is Pete, by the way, morning Peter in Barcelona. At a time when Britain faces economic pressure, global instability, and a need to rebuild trust in politics, continuity. I can't. Continuity. There you go. That's right. That's my warning for no more coffee. That's my coffee warning.
You used to have to do that to make the telephone equipment work. Continuity.
God, too much wah-wah.
You're not going to live that one down.
I'm not going to live that one down. I missed you earlier.
Thank you.
Britain does not need another reset. It needs a time for some serious leadership to take root. Sir Keir Starmer deserves that time and support to finish the job he was elected to do. And one thing that did come out of yesterday is the fact that nobody's, unless the head of the Scottish Labour Party decides to have a Pyrrhic victory and fall on his sword in order to get somebody to stand, or he is the sacrificial lamb, etc., and then it would put so much doubt into Starmer's mind. Well, that hasn't happened because everybody yesterday, Rayner, Streeting was he got doorsteps, and you can see how quickly he was moving because he got doorsteps. So he was going.
He was on a podcast with what's her name, the Sky woman,
Kate Burley. No, I don't know what you mean.
No idea.
Yeah. Anyway. But you see what I'm saying?
Eleanor Rigby.
Nobody's... Yeah, Beth Rigby. But, brilliant journalist. But...
Eleanor Rigby.
Look at all the lonely people. What it has done is driven... Again, like I said, they've all bandied together, they've all supported him, and this could be this might be the moment that Starmer goes, right, you lot.
He says it's not resigning.
Well, it's just nothing to do with Starmer again, is it? This is about... They're going to change the staff in number 10. That will be the big issue.
Larry the cat is still staying.
And they're going to then change the relationship between the staff in number 10, the staff in Labour Party head office, and the backbench MPs. Because what they've done throughout, if you just go back, because even I raised my eyebrows, we're going to do away with winter fuel allowance. And you go, the uproar that came, remembering only a third of the country voted Labour, so 2/3 of the country didn't ever agree with them anyway, and still don't. So when you have all these surveys, I always expect 2/3 of the country to say we don't want Starmer or we don't want this, because that's where it was and that's where it stays, because they've done nothing. So, and what it was, and you said it earlier, this is all about media communication, and they've not been good enough at it. And the one issue that they've not been good enough is they haven't communicated properly between, in my humble opinion, between number 10, the Labour Party head office, and the backbench MPs when they have their meetings. In fact, the PLP meeting usually is treated like, oh, do we have to go to that? And usually it's the whips of pulling people in because of an issue.
Yeah.
They didn't have to pull anybody in last night, as I understand it. The whips weren't used to get a big audience. Yes, of course, somebody said to the ministers, you need to gather round, because the issue is, it's not the next general election. It's called, we've got Wales elections, Scotland elections, local elections, and then the build-up. And it's a 2-year build-up. Remember, there are other local elections between, but it's a 2-year build-up then to the general election. The last time that happened was 1997. because the Tories should have gone in 96. They held on. They added days. They called the election at Easter so they could all get, believe it or not, 2 extra days' pay, 2 extra days on their severance pay, 2 extra days on their pension. They went to the limit plus because they did it at a holiday time. And you're not going to get away with that. So this time, there's got to be a 2-year plan like there was by the Labour Party. I joined in 94. And I wasn't an appointee because of the general election. I was appointed as the Greenwich organiser. It was a natural position, and I won the selection.
Right.
And then you was put in, I tell you what, the amount of effort and drive and everything that went into the Labour Party, because some of us had lived through 92 and the disappointment of 92 when we expected to win and didn't. And Kinnock was expected to win and didn't. And they blamed it on Sheffield. Oh, you know, you come out singing, we're the champion, all that rubbish. Yeah. It wasn't that at all. There was... 2 days before the general election in 1992, every single 50-foot billboard everywhere in Britain had one big...
Not Devilised, was it? No, that was
no, it was tax bombshell.
Oh, yeah, right.
Massive, great big bomb, Labour's tax bombshell, and at the bottom is a queue of people at the unemployment office at the Dole. And that was it. And that was everywhere.
Right.
So it's called, well, we're going to stop that for 97. All right, there was a move. A lot of the Tories, like the guy who I was against, Peter Bottomley, they ran away. They went, chicken run, we called it.
Yeah.
Because they could see the writing on the wall. They should have lost under initially with Major. Didn't. He survived. They go into the next one and you go, you're going to get beaten. And they all went, but the organisation in the Labour Party was so solid. I will never, ever forget that. And the training that went in. A woman called Margaret McDonough, who ended up being a General Secretary, an architect, with Mandelson, with all of the top people. The geezer who's now the General Secretary of the National Health Service stuff, Matthew Taylor. There was lots of really superbly intelligent, organised, who understood. People like me, Joe Bloggs off the tools, who was an organiser. Yeah. I needed to be told, do this, and then to be encouraged to do it properly. Right. Not being shouted at. And I think that's what's going to come from the next general election. And I think if they change the leader, they will lose that momentum. They will lose that 2 years. So they've got to get through these local elections. And, of course, they're going to get an hammering. It's mid-term. Yeah. No party ever lasts mid-term, local elections. No party.
Alia, you're going to say something else?
I was just going to say that you put down with the list of the things that we were going to talk about. About
it's raining.
That too. And potholes. Yeah. But matriarchy, or the people, women in power.
Yes.
Quite frankly, looking at the decades and decades of men in power, haven't done a really good job of it.
Who? Women haven't done a good job?
No, men. Look at all the mess we've got.
Yeah.
I was looking at how many female or women in power there are, with over
Ursula von der Leyen's on the phone and she's not happy with you.
I'm really not.
Longest serving Prime Minister.
I've got to the time of age and I say what I want. No, if you want to agree, fine. If you don't want to agree.
Longest serving Prime Minister in the UK other than Blair, Thatcher. Yeah. Second longest serving women in politics, Thatcher and May. The Tories have had it. Don't blame the blokes because the women didn't come forward. No, don't blame the blokes because the women don't. And I'll tell you what happens now. We've got more women. Got more women in the cabinet.
Got a female
than ever. More women are at high-profile jobs in the cabinet and in Parliament today, and yet we still struggle. I agree with you. We still struggle to give them a program. So West Streeting gets more voice than Angela Rayner or Mrs. Bowles.
But you see, the thing is, though, there's going to be a backlash against this, isn't there? Because we're in an age, whether you like it or lump it, especially over with the social media, and there's nothing social about social media, as we all know, but there will be a backlash against the patriarchy. There will be a backlash against the toxic... Exactly, that toxic masculinity.
It started.
Yeah, there is... And you see, the thing is, and I'm going to go back to, I'm not going to go back to Bad Booney too much, but the thing is, there are, the rage that is being felt by women, not just in the States.
Everywhere.
Because
everywhere.
How come? Explain. Riddle me this. How come the only person in prison after all this thing has come over is Ghislaine Maxwell? And there are all these rich and powerful men, and we're not. I mean, okay, I'm a radio presenter, so I am stupid, but we need belief. It beggars belief. The female stereotypes that are currently in certain positions of power in certain countries in the Western world are nothing more than two-dimensional ciphers of how about women. They are a male view of how women should be, and real women ain't like that. And real women and their daughters, and trust me, I'm a man who lives with real women and their daughters, are outraged about this.
Yes, what should be. Listen, there is just, as you said, such a massive backlash everywhere in the world. How many women are being killed by their partners? Every single day, everywhere. Australia has a pandemic of them.
Undermine news on a Monday in Spain, and there's always a horror story.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Domestic violence, but and yet we have people saying, but we want to go back to the time of Franco because it was better then.
Joking?
That's because they never reported the death of women.
No, of course it was.
The issue, I don't take umbrage. I'm not even differing from you, Ali, but there's a woman in the UK who's in a high-profile position who, in my opinion, does nothing to promote women. Kemi Badenoch. She's the leader of...
No, she's a woman black. She's a woman of colour, for goodness sake.
Well, she should really be thinking about what she is.
We've gone past that.
Suella Braverman, good morning to you. Right, morning, calling live on TRE. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your viewpoint, please?
Morning, Giles. Peter.
Morning, Peter.
Good morning.
How are you doing today, my friends?
Well, listening to this, not too well.
Okay.
It's people's inability to see the bigger picture. And it goes on time and time and time again. And we pick on these subjects and we talk about these subjects, and they're so insignificant to the bigger picture. It's untrue. And, even Alf said a couple of weeks ago, and I agreed full of heart with him, Keir Starmer's voice on the world stage is nothing. He has no influence whatsoever. The UK has no influence, not like it used to. And they're all being controlled by other people. And you've brushed on that previous to that. There are certain powers, legacy families, and we've talked about the legacy news, and they are hanging on for dear life because the world is changing. And we don't know what direction it's going in. And I'm not naive enough to not think that people like Trump don't have a word, people are having a word in his ear, and that people are benefiting from it. But in the cold light of day, most people, as long as someone's doing a good job, if they're taking a little bit of skim off the top, or they're getting rewarded with this, that, or the other. In the old days, it used to be writing a book and a memoir and getting a good pension and that. Now they just will not let go of power. The Mandelsons, the Blairs and that. I mean, Blair coming back time and time again, and Mandelson and but it goes on all around the world. And Alf often gives us that ditto about power. And that is the problem with the world, is the power that they're trying to hang on to. Now, this will interest you greatly, Giles, and I might get Pompey Gary involved as well. I saw on YouTube the other day a guy, like a 1 or 2 minute with AI, and he asked AI, what's happening in the world right now? Don't fluff it up. Don't glorify it. Don't take it right down. Just give me the truth. And the answer was that in 1453, you'll know better than me, the fall of Constantinople.
Yep.
He said the world didn't end. It was reorganized. And I thought that was great, because I think we're going through a reorganization of the world. The currencies, everything is changing, massively changing. And people can't seem to get a grip of that. And the fact you're talking about that, I don't know who he is. I won't make a comment on him because I never heard of the guy at the Super Bowl.
Bad Booney, as I have to correct.
Whoever he is. Right. What people don't understand is content creation. They need to, this is what they're doing all the time, putting out, getting us all to react, splitting it down the middle. You can double your audience if you're good and bad. The likes of the Conor McGregors, the Ronda Rouseys, the Muhammad Alis, they all worked this out years ago. If you can get half the world to hate you and half the world to love you, they're both going to get involved with you because they're either going to tell you they love you or tell you they hate you. So the world is just spinning on an axis at the moment, completely changing. We don't know whether we're going to be... we are going to be cashless. We don't know what's going to replace it. We don't know whether we're going back to the gold standard. We don't know who's going to control AI. We don't know who's controlling the weather. And before anyone says, conspiracy theory, back in 1977, all the world's countries signed an agreement not to use weather as a weapon because they do know how to manipulate weather. Which we just found out about. So
I was going to say, begs the question, who's got it in for Spain and Andalusia in particular then, Peter, after the last couple of weeks?
Exactly. But my point is, Giles, is there is, and always has been, go back to, like I said, the Bilderberg groups, you go back to these institutions, the World Economic Forums, the Funny Handshake Brigade, all of them. And there's these little, you work your way up and you get compromised. The further you go up, the more you get compromised. And if you don't go up, it's because you're not being compromised and you're no good. And then people say on merit or he was a good communicator. They are actors. They're all actors. I mean, at the moment, we're being given this climate change garbage. And the lady on the panel, signed a deal with China. China have thousands of fossil fuel refineries. You know, you cannot make steel in this world with solar or wind. You can't produce kilojoules or whatever it is. I'm no engineer.
Alf wants to come in on something here, Pete. Just 1 second. Alf.
I agree about the world changing, Pete. I tell you what's been really significant in the last week is that Trump decides to send a fleet to Iran or to the waters around Iran to threaten Iran and put pressure on them, etc., etc. Now, in the past, that would have been the end of it, wouldn't it? That would have been... So today we hear, or yesterday we hear, China are sending their fleet.
It's old naval diplomacy. Gary will tell me about this.
No,
absolutely.
That was
a show of power. Here, we've got an aircraft carrier, Tremble.
But that was in China and off the Chinese waters and stuff like that. This is off the shores of Iran. Trump sends this fleet in order to threaten Iran, and China, presumably because they've got some coexistence with Iran, send their fleet there, which negates whatever Trump thinks he's going to do, because there's no way Trump, with the best will in the world, is going to start a world war based on Iran. They will talk it all to death, and Iran will be allowed to carry on. And that's the difference in the world today as well, isn't it? The power struggle is changing. You know
better than anyone else that these power struggles we don't get to see. We see the swan on top of the water, we don't see the legs. All right, that's all we ever get. We're fed this bullshit all the time.
As I've said all the time, we're the plankton. We're not even the legs of a swan. We're the plankton.
Going back to the reorganisation of the world, the reason this is happening between China and America and Russia, and they're picking their sides and who's going to come out on top with all this new technology and who's going to back them, what AI companies are going to back them, and the old banking families will going to lose their power unless they move into this. Now, as far as Iran goes, Iran is collapsing right now, and the Iranian people will get their country back. And he doesn't need to go to war. This is all just showing power. I don't know if you've heard of a teapot refinery, but in China there are thousands of teapot refineries, and all that oil is being bought from Iran and taken to China and then redistributed and they're buying Russian oil, and then they'll take it into the teapot refineries. And I won't bore you with all the details, but they've suddenly pulled the plug. The banks have pulled the plug on these teapot refineries that were financing these ships and insurance and all that. So Iran now have no income. They're selling no oil. So by pulling the rug on them, it will collapse. But the people will gain power. It might take a while. We're going to lose a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah. They've already lost.
Who's lost?
Iran have lost thousands and thousands and thousands.
Of course they have.
Being killed by their own people.
Yes. But that's nothing to do with, like I just said, we don't see that. And just quickly, you said that lady said 450,000 people children brought out of poverty. At the same time, dragging all the pensioners into poverty by taxing pensioners and destroying the welfare state. And we don't see nothing in there. There's a handful of powerful people in the world, and Starmer, whoever takes his place, is not one of them.
Thanks for your call in, Pete. I've got to get an ad break in, otherwise I'm going to crash the news. Thanks for your call in. Thanks very much, friend.
Viewpoint on Talk Radio Europe with
Giles Brown.
Right, we're into the last 5 minutes of this morning's very live and lively Viewpoint this morning. Let's have a look at the panel. I'm looking at the panel. Hello, panel.
It's on the wall behind
It's on the wall behind me. You've been stalked by Kerry Badenoch. I don't know about how. Be careful, it's not Pantos, but she's behind you.
Look behind you.
Keir Starmer's position is untenable. Who'd have thunk she'd have said that, eh? Right then, looking at the poll, there is... Let's have a look if the Viewpoint listeners think that Sir Keir Starmer, no more. It's my wah pedal. Should Sir Keir Starmer resign over the Mel's affair? 44% of you think he should, and 56% think he should not resign. So get your vote into this one. Meanwhile, looking at some more of the bits and pieces coming in. If you want to get your Viewpoint, local, international or national.
To contact TRE, please call 952 78 4000. Email studio@tre.radio. Send us a WhatsApp on +34 645 99 67 95. Message us on Facebook, Talk Radio Europe Official, or tweet us at TRE Talk Radio.
Thank you, Richard, sending me this one. A statement from the Welsh Labour leader, Luned Morgan, who says, I support the... Too much Welsh in today, I'm sorry, and there he was gone. I support the Prime Minister. My Welsh grandmother will be spinning in her proverbial. I support the Prime Minister, and not to mention my dad, the Prime Minister in the job he was elected to do. After years of revolving door leadership under the Conservatives, the country needs stability in an age of instability, and that matters for Wales. I had concerns that Peter Mandelson was incompatible with public office because of the company that he kept. What has since come to light has only reinforced these concerns. These issues are deeply troubling, not least because, once again, the voices of women and girls were ignored. The failure must be acknowledged and confronted honestly. Statement from the First Minister of Wales, who, despite some rumours yesterday, says that she supports the Prime Minister in the job that he was elected to do. Look at the final panel, look at the final poll even, should Sir Keir... So we have decided, the listeners have decided, should Sir Keir resign? 44% think he should, 56% he shouldn't. So close, but Sir Keir stays in his job for another week. Panel, so there you go. Right.
I saw David Dami walking across the screen yesterday doing something, and he was going at a very brisk pace, and he was asked, do you think Sir Keir should resign? He said, we've waited 14 years to get where we are. No.
Yeah. Alf is nodding sagely.
We waited our whole lifetime, really, to be honest, because we blew it.
Finally.
Just let him get on with the job. Let him.
Here we go. Gary, Bombay, FFS, thank you. Yes, it was the Coldstream, all the similar regiment bands, normally the Royal Marines. It was so long ago for West Ham.
1980.
Then it would have been
Sir
Walter Raleigh's Doodah Band. Now that is a band I'd like to see.
Actually, what was it?
The Golden Horn, etc.
1980, I think it was.
Francis Drake on Triangle. Meanwhile, just
Golden
a quick...
Hind.
The Golden Hind, yes, indeed.
His name was Barry Wilmore, if anybody's really interested.
I thought you were about to break into a song then. His name was Barry Wilmore, and he only had one... Right. Meanwhile... No, come on. That's Copacabana.
And he got his job in the army, whatever it was, because he could use a guitar.
Right. Now,
and
stop. You honestly, you're digging such a pothole here.
In the band.
He
had nothing to do with marching.
The Walter Raleigh's Doodah Band. Right. Meanwhile, Cookie, the world's the stage, and we are the extras. I'm selling ice creams in the intermission. Right then, almost out of time. It's been a very live and lively Viewpoint today.
It's been great fun.
Thank you, Ali. It's been lovely to have you back. Any thoughts you'd like to leave the listeners with, apart from Bad Booney, obviously?
Just be careful driving down the Carretera, because Giles and his potholes, you've really got to be careful.
I've got a cream for that. And
I just want to make sure the listeners know that I've been using my Royal House. This is a House of Lords pen in red with the crown on the top.
Yeah. A glittering star in the middle.
Which I was presented with by a friend of mine.
Right. That's what you're going to say about that.
Lynn Golding's her name. Baroness. Baroness Lynn Golding.
That right. So yes, may your wah-wahs be woo-woos, and we will see you. This show will be repeated at 6 o'clock. Stephen Ritson, thankfully, is up next.
The views expressed on Viewpoint by invited studio guests and callers do not constitute an opinion endorsed in any way by Talk Radio Europe.
You've been listening to a TRE production. If you've enjoyed this program, there'll be another episode waiting for you next week, right here on this platform, where you can also access our extensive back catalogue of shows and interviews. For more information on our live programming, social media channels and apps, and how to contact Talk Radio Europe, please visit tre.radio.